And now it's time for The Truth About Embryonic and Adult Stem Cell Research, What the Media's Not Telling You, the series where we explode myths perpetuated by politicians and the media.
This is Lesson 3, in which we challenge the assertion that embryonic stem cells are better than adult stem cells. So why do some scientists claim that embryonic stem cells are better than adult?
Basically, they have their heads on backwards.
It depends on how you define better. Useful for therapy or scientifically fascinating? Remember how we discussed pluripotent and multipotent and how embryonic stem cells are pluripotent? Scientists assert that pluripotent stem cells are better because they can turn into every cell in the body. But that's just an assertion. There's no data to support the statement that pluripotent stem cells are better. 30 years of animal embryonic stem cell research have produced no cures. Despite this, some scientists still refer to embryonic stem cells as the gold standard of stem cells.
The fact is, pluripotency is not a benefit when it comes to treating patients.
If your heart disease was going to be treated with stem cells, would you want to be injected with stem cells that have a tendency to turn into every kind of cell, or stem cells that are already leaning toward becoming heart cells?
Do you want hair and bone forming in your heart tissue?
And even though adult stem cells are not pluripotent, one adult stem cell doesn't become all 200 types of cells. When you add up the different sources of stem cells in our bodies, we can produce all the cells. It doesn't matter that there's no one single cell that can become every other cell.
As the heart example demonstrates, being able to turn into every cell like embryonic stem cells do is actually a disadvantage for treating patients.
In 2009, a sad story was published about a boy who had a fatal neuromuscular disease who was treated with embryonic stem cells. 4 years later, the tumors that appeared in his brain and spinal cord were found to genetically match the female embryo that was used to treat him. Tragic consequences result when embryonic stem cells are removed from their natural environment, the developing embryo, yet still behave the way they were designed to behave, to grow rapidly into many different types of cells. Dr. Bernadine Healy, the former head of NIH, summed it up in her article entitled, "Why Embryonic Stem Cells Are Obsolete."
Even as the future of embryonic stem cells has dimmed, adult stem cell research has scored major wins. These advances involve human stem cells that are not derived from human embryos. In fact, adult stem cells, which occur in small quantities in organs throughout the body for natural growth and repair, have become stars despite great skepticism early on.
Embryonic stem cells are scientifically fascinating, but this is about medicine. Which cells are better for treating patients? Not which cells are the coolest. Which cells hold the greatest hope for treating patients afflicted with a devastating disease or injury? Clearly, adult stem cells, since adult stem cells have been used to treat 73 conditions, are readily available, are a perfect genetic match if obtained from the patient's own body, don't form tumors, and don't require the destruction of a living human embryo, and embryonic stem cells form tumors and have never been used to successfully treat anyone. And what about the claims that scientists must continue to dissect human embryos to learn how the cells work? The answer is obvious. Learn everything you need from animal embryos, from animal embryonic stem cells. There's no justification for destroying early human life, for introducing the ethical problems that are introduced when human embryos are dissected, since the knowledge can be obtained from animal research. So as for scientists who claim that embryonic stem cells are better than adult stem cells,
they're all wet. Tune in next time for Lesson 4 of The Truth About Embryonic and Adult Stem Cell Research.